on, guys? This is DropThisBox, and I hope all of you guys out there are having a fantastic day today. And today, it's time to talk about Spider-Man once again, because I definitely want to cover all of the Spider-Man movies on my channel, because I definitely do have some thoughts that I do want to share with you guys when it comes to my overall experience with them. And so far, I talked about the very first Spider-Man movie and the second movie. So we're going to complete the Tobey Maguire trilogy today by talking about Spider-Man 3. And when it comes to Spider-Man 3, I just want to talk about how I personally feel about Spider-Man 3, because a lot of people out there have mixed thoughts on this film when it comes to how they personally feel about it. That's why I wanted to talk about how I personally feel about it when it comes to my overall perspective, because I feel like that's a good way to do it when you want to get someone's initial thoughts on how they feel about something. So that's what I'm going to be doing, just giving my overall thoughts as I talk about it within this video. So let's jump into that right away, because I'm pretty sure you guys are curious to hear how I feel about Spider-Man 3. So I still remember how excited I was when Spider-Man 3 was announced. The first two movies had set such a high bar, and I couldn't wait to see what the next chapter would bring. The trailers teased so much when it came to new villains, bigger stakes, and that black suit. It felt like the perfect setup for something unforgettable. The idea of seeing Spider-Man grapple with his dark side had me hooked immediately. One of the most exciting parts for me was the inclusion of Venom, because as a kid, I loved Venom in the comics and the animated series. So knowing he'd finally make his big screen debut was thrilling. Plus, seeing Sandman as a fully CGI villain in the trailers looked amazing for its time, and I couldn't wait to see how Spider-Man would handle two villains while dealing with his own personal struggles. But along with my excitement, I did have some concerns. There were a lot of characters being introduced: Venom, Sandman, Harry as a new Goblin, and of course, Gwen Stacy. I wondered how the movie would juggle all these storylines without losing focus. Still, I went into the theater with high hopes and plenty of enthusiasm. Looking back, that anticipation was part of what made the experience so memorable for me. Even if the movie didn't land perfectly in some areas, it was a film I looked forward to with all my heart, and that's something I'll always appreciate about Spider-Man 3. And one thing I really appreciated about Spider-Man 3 is how it tries to explore deeper themes, because even if not everything lands, the movie focuses a lot on forgiveness and redemption, which is a natural progression for Peter's journey. Sandman's story in particular really highlights these ideas. His backstory about trying to save his daughter gives him depth, making him more than just a typical villain. Then there's a theme of personal darkness. Peter's struggle with the black suit is such a great metaphor for how power and anger can corrupt a person. I liked how the movie showed him grappling with arrogance and revenge. It's something we all deal with on some level. Even though some moments felt over the top, the core idea of facing one's inner demons resonated with me. I also appreciated how Harry Osborn's arc tied into the theme of reconciliation. His relationship with Peter is one of the emotional backbones of the trilogy, and watching their friendship break and eventually heal was one of the most satisfying parts of the movie. It added a layer of emotional weight that I felt was needed. Spider-Man 3 isn't about flashy fights and villains, it's about learning to let go of resentment, forgiving others, and forgiving yourself. That's a message I've carried with me long after the credits rolled, and it's one of the reasons I have a soft spot for this movie. If there's one thing that stands out when I think about Spider-Man 3, it's how packed the story feels. Some of it works, but other parts felt like too much was crammed into one movie. The Sandman's origin story is well done, and I think his connection to Uncle Ben's death adds an interesting twist. But with so many characters and plot lines, some moments felt rushed. Venom, for example, didn't get the screen time he deserved. As much as I loved seeing him, I wish the movie had spent more time building Eddie Brock's character. His transformation into Venom feels too quick, which is a shame because he's such a complex villain in the comics. It felt like Venom was included more as fan service than a fully developed character. And then the love triangle between Peter, MJ, and Gwen also felt unnecessary to me. It added drama, sure, but it didn't feel like it added much to the overall story. If anything, it made Peter seem a little out of character at times, especially during the infamous dancing scenes. Those moments are fun to laugh at now, but they felt jarring on my first watch. Still, despite the cluttered plot, there are parts of the story that really shine. I think the heart of the movie, the struggle for redemption and the power of forgiveness, manages to come through. Even with all of the distractions, it's a messy movie, but it has its moments of brilliance. Love it or hate it, Spider-Man 3 gave us moments that are impossible to forget. The black suit reveal is still one of the coolest scenes in the trilogy. Seeing Peter's reflection in the mirror while the symbiote takes over was such a striking visual. It perfectly captured the darker tone the movie was aiming for. Of course, I can't talk about memorable moments without mentioning the infamous Bully Maguire scenes. Watching Peter strut down the street, finger guns and all, was something else. At first, I didn't know how to feel about these scenes, but over time, they become a kind of cult classic. They're silly and over the top, but they're also oddly endearing in their own way. The fight scenes are another highlight. The final battle where Peter teams up with Harry to take on Sandman and Venom is such a spectacle. It's chaotic, but it's also emotional, especially with Harry's sacrifice. Even the earlier fights, like the one between Peter and Harry in the apartment, are packed with energy and emotion. And then there's the ending. Peter and MJ dancing in the jazz club after everything they've been through is such a quiet, reflective moment. It's not a traditional happy ending, but it feels fitting for the story. Spider-Man 3 might be divisive, but it's undeniably full of unforgettable scenes that have stuck with me. Another reason why I have a soft spot for Spider-Man 3 is because of how ambitious it is. It's clear that Sam Raimi and the team wanted to deliver a movie that was bigger and bolder than the first two. They took risks, and while not all of them paid off, I can't help but respect the effort. The movie juggles so many storylines, characters, and themes. It's like they were trying to give fans everything they wanted and more. While that approach led to some flaws, it also gave us a movie that feels grand in scope. There's a lot to take in, and it's the kind of film that rewards repeat viewings because you notice new details every time. I also admire how the movie doesn't shy away from exploring complex emotions. Peter isn't always likable in this movie, but that's what makes his journey so compelling. It's a reminder that even heroes have their flaws and make mistakes. Watching him grow and learn from those mistakes is something I really value about the story. At the end of the day, Spider-Man 3 might not be perfect, but it's a movie that swings for the fences. It tries to do a lot, and even though it stumbles, it's still an ambitious and heartfelt film. That's something I always admire about it, and it's a big part of why I feel the way I do about Spider-Man 3. So first off, it's nice that we're able to cap off the coverage for the Tobey Maguire trilogy when it comes to the first three Spider-Man movies, because like I talked about when it came to the coverage of these three films, I had a lot of fun with these movies growing up as a kid. I mean, this was my introduction to the Spider-Man character outside of the cartoons and comics that I read and watched growing up. I mean, this was my overall introduction to the live action scope of things when it came to all of those superhero movies that were really taking off around the time. And I had a lot of fun watching the Tobey Maguire trilogy. And like I spoke about throughout this video, I don't want to reiterate too much, but I do have a soft spot for Spider-Man 3 just because of certain moments that happened across the film. So that's why I just wanted to make this video, just letting you guys know how I personally feel about the film, so you guys have a better understanding of how I feel about Spider-Man 3 overall. So just in case you're asking yourself one day, oh, okay, how does this drop feel about Spider-Man 3? I mean, hey, click on this video and you'll know the exact answer, because I want this to be something that you guys can look back at the future and be like, let's see how he feels about this so-and-so movie. And that's why I wanted to make this video, not only because I love Spider-Man, but I just love getting in front of a camera and just letting you guys know how I feel about all of these different things when it comes to the kind of content that I really synced myself into growing up as a kid. But if you guys have anything you want to say yourself when it comes to your own thought process on Spider-Man 3, be sure to let me know down below. I would absolutely love to hear about it. If you enjoy the content on this channel, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Be sure to follow me on my social media when it comes to my X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All the links are located in the description below. Be sure to click on that bell so you guys get notifications whenever a video drops on the channel. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, whoever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.